Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco Bay is the longest bridge in the world. It took 4 years to build. It cost $35 million. It's one of the new 7 wonders of the world. But in another way, all bridges are wonderful, from the longest to the very shortest. They hold the world together, linking one place with another, joining cities and men, and sometimes even nations. This is the Ludendorff Bridge over the Rhine River. It's a strange thing, but when war comes, bridges are no longer wonderful things. Soldiers guard them. Bridges are no longer wonderful things. They're dangerous. The bridges must be destroyed. Blow them up, dynamite them, turn them into rubble, into crumbled cement and twisted steel. Someday, when peace comes, the bridges will be built again. Cities and men will be linked again. Peace, not war. Life, not death, will rule again. This is a bridge that has been repaired. The river are no longer the enemy. This is Jones Bridge in Manila, and it's in use again. Manila in the Philippines was once a shining city, growing, prosperous. This is Manila today. 3 years and 9 months of war, of bombing and shelling and machine gunning, have left scars. 80% of the estimated real value of the city was destroyed, and the scars have not healed. This was the Philippine Legislature, the birthplace of Philippine democracy and justice. And this was once a fine university. Students with books under their arms walked through these doors, received here the heritage of civilization. This was a church. On Sundays, men and women worshiped here. Organ music swelled. Choirs sang. Babies were baptized within these walls. There's not much left now. The wind and the rain have finished what the bombs began. Nothing left except this dome and its cross and the faith it stands for. But what are the people behind this faith? Where and how do they live? There's not only a housing shortage in Manila, there's a housing crisis. When your home was bombed, you built a shack. And you got used to it. You even called it home. Maybe the walls were cardboard, but there wasn't much rent to pay. The only trouble is that sometimes it rains. And when it rains in Manila, it really rains. Of course, the kids go on playing anyway, because kids are kids anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world, young fellows need jobs and recreation. And if they don't have either, there's always the gang on the street corner. Anywhere in the world, young boys have endless appetites. When boys in Manila get hungry, they go fishing. Not for sunfish or a trout, but for a can of discarded food. It's hard to keep up with the other anglers when... Anyway, the rewards of fishing are pretty slim. And it's too tame for this young fellow. He's learned the hard way during 4 long years of war. In those days, if you wanted to eat, you learned to steal. This is the way you did it. You learned to run like a jackrabbit, too, because the enemy had guns. And if you could pick up a little extra for food this way, why not? Never mind the rules, either. The enemy made rules, and who wanted to be like them? So cheat, and if you get caught, you can use your knife, unless somebody interferes. Somebody like this YMCA secretary. He's watched this problem grow, and he knows that there are thousands of boys like this one. stealing and cheating because not so long ago it was right to cheat and steal. And he knows that the answer lies not in giving lectures, but in offering the things that all boys want and need, a healthy outlet for their young energies and recreation. The knowledge that someone cares about them and what happens to them, a feeling of friendliness and understanding, of belonging to somebody and something. Sure, it's just a piece of pasteboard, but for boys like this one, it's a great big answer. An answer that doesn't wait on red tape. It starts now. Because right this minute in the ruins of a nearby church, the North Paco Boys Club is holding a meeting. Fair play instead of the law of the jungle. Fun instead of fights. Enter our hero again. Only this time he's got a friend with him. Introductions are in order. There's a new club member. Maybe this boy is remembering that day when he was the new boy getting introduced. This is a new way of beginning a friendship, this shaking hand stuff, instead of a sock on the nose. It's good, too. Makes a guy feel warm inside. Always room for one more at the Y, no matter how crowded it may be. Rules of fair play are easy to learn when the teacher is that old democratic institution, a ball game. His name may not be Casey, but wow. Yes, our heroes won the first round in a new kind of fight. Our wise secretary has a fight on his hands, too. There's no use trying to repair the old Y building. The Quonset huts that are Y headquarters for the present are at least a beginning. There wasn't even much to salvage. Equipment and furnishings, everything from sinks to footballs, were lost or damaged, beyond hope of repair. When the bombs came, they fell everywhere. And YMCA buildings everywhere in the world were damaged or destroyed. But the war didn't just hit our secretary's Y, it hit his home, too. Here, in a shack right next to the ruined foundation of his pre-war home, is where this wise secretary and his family are living now. Existing might be a better word. This woman's eyes saw war in all its horror. And today, in spite of the ugliness of her home, she's thankful that her husband was spared. Thankful that her children can eat nourishing food again. Lunch hour is the only time a wise secretary gets for personal needs. Most of his days and nights are spent in bringing wise services back to those who need them. For example, students now attending universities and high schools must have decent accommodations. These are the men who will someday be the leaders of their new and growing nation. Those adolescents who never had a job or any kind of training need employment service and vocational advice. And when possible, actual on-the-job training. Free sporting events can mean a lot to guys with low morale and empty pockets. Boxing matches can take the place of street fighting when boredom runs high. Amateur night on the radio goes over big in Manila, too. The streets are roped off for blocks to take care of the crowds. 100,000 every week. They like their Saturday night party and they like their Y. On the other side of the world, in Czechoslovakia, the people like and need the Y too. This is a cathedral in Prague, the nation's capital. Through the long years of occupation, it stood a symbol of faith and inspiration to the people of the nation. Other buildings were not so fortunate. Some, like this one, were partially ruined. With the coming of peace, the work of rebuilding has begun. Though badly damaged, the YMCA building in Prague was spared, and its services to young people continue. The people of Prague have seen to that, poor as they are. A swimming pool is not a luxury, any more than health itself is a luxury. The Y in Prague is the proud possessor of a gym, too. Today, these boys have gathered to learn a game originally invented by the Y. It's been a long time since basketball was played in Czechoslovakia. Yes, you'd say this Y had hardly been touched. But war leaves other scars. This boy's father was a Y secretary. He died in prison. In this prison, many died. YMCA staff members loyal to their beliefs faced death and hard labor here. The shadow of this guillotine hung over them. Miloslav Kohak can tell you about terrorism. He lived through it. This is what happened if a man was staunch in his faith, if the enemy found out. But while the shadow of violence and hatred moved across his life, he never lost hope. Miloslav Kohak was a YMCA board member. He was not alone in what he endured. More than 600 YMCA staff members need special help today after years of privation. Under sentence of death, he waited. He saw friends in the same prison disappear, never to return. For him, liberation came in time. The day came when the door to his cells swung open, and he was free again. Free to help build a peaceful world, free to continue the work he believed in. It's literally true that the sun never sets on the work of the YMCA. This is Shanghai in 1947. Outwardly, there seems to be little change. The familiar Chinese junks on the rivers, the same rickshaws on the streets, the same Y building on Tibet Road. But no Y in China is quite the same in 1947 as it was before the war. Half the staff of the YMCA in China were lost. 200 new leaders must be trained and developed to carry on the work of the Y. They'll help the young men of China to learn technical skills and to build character for the task of reshaping their country. Other Chinese Ys did not fare so well. 9 of them, like this one in Ningbo, were completely destroyed. The Chinese people have always been poor. They're even poorer now. Hunger and suffering are widespread. To help in meeting the emergency, this YMCA opened 7 daycare centers for the small children of impoverished laborers. The food was donated by CNRRA. This is a YMCA free school in Ningbo. In China, schooling is a luxury. The teacher is usually a volunteer, and lessons are a pleasure. Even if there aren't enough desks to go around. In Poland, the neighborhood playground is likely to be a pile of rubble. When war left most buildings like this, there weren't many places you could go to play. This was the Y at the end of the war. Today, it's partly repaired and it's open again. These children know it, and they're on their way. It's a cheerful, friendly place to go, and it's warm there, too. There's such a lot of wonderful things to do once you get there. Games, of course, and books and newspapers, and things to learn, too. You could play checkers, or get into that club where they made model airplanes. During the war, there wasn't much chance to learn things. Or if you felt sort of lazy today, you could do this. It was always fun to do this. So much fun that even grown-ups did it. Now that the war was over, eating was an exciting, even a new experience. But naturally, your appetite was bigger than anybody's. It was a great thing that there was something called UNRWA, that the other nations in the world remembered that you were around, remembered that you'd been hungry a long time, that you'd been skinny and sick and miserable, that your mother had been cold, needed a coat to keep her warm when winter came. It was the why that helped UNRWA distribute clothing. It was the why that gave you a pair of shoes. Not only in the Philippines, Czechoslovakia, China, and Poland, but in 18 other countries of the world, the need is great. To meet it, friends of the YMCA and of youth in both the United States and Canada have organized the World Youth Fund to supplement the funds each YMCA is raising in its own country. $8,650,000 will be raised to start the repairs of damaged buildings and equipment. 105 buildings in all parts of the world were hit by war, 41 of them destroyed completely. To rehabilitate over 600 Y staff members and their families in need of essential clothing, household goods and temporary shelter, medical attention, and special diets for those suffering from malnutrition or disease. To train new leaders to replace those lost in the war, so that the work of the Y may continue with people all over the world. Yes, bridges are wonderful things. With concrete and steel, they hold the physical world together. But there's another kind of bridge. There are the intangible bridges that hold the peoples of the world together. Bridges with foundations of friendship and understanding. Across rivers of hate and suspicion. The unseen bridges between brother and brother. The invisible bridge between all men and their God.